Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
I'm just trying to go in the natural process of the procurement cycle. How things go in a real life operations of procurement. You create a PO, you receive the goods, and once you receive the goods, then the vendor is going to send you an invoice. We have now entered the invoice in NetSuite. And now, once the invoice is entered into NetSuite, the next step or the next physical steps would be to pay the vendor, right? Based on the terms, based on the due date, you will be paying to the vendor. Let's say how you do that. You will simply click on the Make Payment button over here. And again, there are multiple ways of doing this in NetSuite. If you are not aware of this transaction, you can go in Transactions, Pay Bills and Pay Vendor Bills. Pay Single Vendor. Again you will be directed on the same screen. I'll just quickly show you that as well. If I go in the vendor payments page, notice that if I click on my payee over here, which is ADA, and notice that the same vendor bill that I just created was automatically populated over here. In this way, I can see all the unpaid bills for this particular ADA vendor and I can just mark them as applied. Or you can just simply on this vendor bill the way we did. I'm just going to click on this vendor bill. I can just click on Make Payment button over here. And again, this is going to take me to the same page. There are multiple ways of doing same thing in NetSuite, just with different navigations. Here, the only ease that I get is I don't have to select the vendor manually. It's already pre-populated. Now this is basically the vendor payments page. And here you're going to be entering all your payment details and payment information. You will notice your payee over here. You will select your bank account. Here, this is an important account that you need to select. And this is going to be based on the bank account that you will be using for this payment purpose. You are going to select your bank account from which you are paying this vendor. Alright. We're going to be reviewing your currency, the date on which you are making this payment. You will select that. If this is a to be printed check, if this is a check that you are printing them, you can select to be printed and you can select the check number or you can directly give any wire number or any information for this vendor in the check field over here. You can select the memo. Any memo for this payment. You can also capture that information. Again, if there is any approvals on your existing vendor payments, you can select the status as pending approval or you can just mark this as approved. If the scenario is. And here you can also enter the vendor. This is the vendor bill. This is the vendor bill against which we are trying to make a payment. And you will just verify the amounts. If there is any discount you are getting from your vendor, you can also, enter that information. And once everything is validated, the AP person or the accounts person is just going to save this. Now this vendor payment is saved. And again, this is also a GL impacting transaction. I'm going to show you the GL impact very quickly. Your data bank account is now credited because we have used this account for the payment, and your liability or accounts table is now debited. In accounting terms, whenever a liability is increasing, it is on the credit side. And whenever a liability is decreasing, it is always on the debit side. Since we have now paid this liability, our liability is now decreasing. And that's why it is on the debit side. If this makes sense, this is just, we are just trying to knock off or pay our liabilities. And this is why our bank account is credited and our liability is debited. And if I again really quickly go back on that vendor bill, this is my vendor bill. If I just refresh this page, you will notice that the status of this vendor bill is now paid in full. Alright, now this essentially completes the whole cycle of P2P, where you did a procurement, you made a PO, you received the goods, you received the vendor bill, and finally you paid to the vendor. And this is where your, procurement cycle got ended. Thank you. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.